Good morning. It's March the 26th, which I can't freaking believe. This year is speeding by. My birth name is Brandon Heckman, and I'm currently trying to convince myself to operate under a pen name, Peregrine Sonder, because the course of my life's work was pretty controversial and a lot of people got hurt. Including me. I'm going to try and make this as brief as possible. It's a lot of material to cover. I'm probably going to do a second video to sort of flesh it all out. The name of the program that I was trying to put everything under the umbrella of is the Institute for Edenic Return. Oops, move. There we go. The cat wants me to keep playing with him. And we're already in a minute, so we're going to dive right in. This is the reward and its attendant programs. Ready? Let's go. So I took a road trip from 2016 to 2018. Got out of a bad marriage, sold our house, which we bought at the bottom of the market. So I had about almost $400,000 in cash when I set out to hit the road. I should have held on to it. 2016, I was thinking about putting a big chunk of it in Bitcoin. Why didn't I? Why did I go on a road trip? Trump was rising. He was ascendant. He was going to become the president. Even though my liberal friends could not see that, they wouldn't allow themselves to see that, the truth of the matter is the man has a remarkable ability to control messaging. Seems crazy to liberals, but they don't understand what he's doing. He's with one tweet, he can control both halves of the political divide, right? He can provoke major antithetical reactions to his tweet from the left. At the same time, he builds loyalty and affinity for pushing around the left on the right. Every single time he bullies the left, he wins more and more confidence from the right. And I saw this, and I was really interested in talking to red state folks. And my real interest was just going, okay, at that time, we've never been more divided. Think about now. Are there any active bridges that can connect us to each other? And what I'm really interested in is taking the Garden of Eden mythos and using it to connect people today, especially Christians, to ecologic responsibility. What I was trying to introduce red state voters to was the idea that we can continue the tradition of global stewardship that God gave to us when we were in the garden. And that doing so, despite our rejection from the garden, would do more to A, bring people together, and B, please God, right? So what did I learn? Red state moms, right? Uniformly. If Walmart or Target or Home Depot had a climate change section, I would shop there. That's amazing, isn't it? It's true. We don't have choices in terms of commodities that can get us out of the mess we're in. 2, and this is also echoed by their mothers, you can't save the world without starting to save belonging first. Family is falling apart. Initially, I was really pissed off by that statement. Well, you deserve it. But actually, the more I heard it, the more I went, okay, this is wisdom. This is spot on. Red state grandfathers like to taunt me. I was wearing silver hair and psychedelic t-shirts with a piranha's tooth necklace at the time. You can go ahead and taunt me all you want. Yeah, and what they were saying most consistently is you all supposedly have these great climate models. Why are we consistently caught with our pants down with climate emergencies? Fires, tornadoes, floods, snows. Why aren't we more prepared? They're right. Why aren't we more prepared? That's what the Goodwill Tour in video 2 is all about. And then red state dads had a range of things that they said, but and were really thoughtful. But the one area that really stuck out for me was, you got to get us back on the gold standard. And that brings us to the reward in a minute. Section 2, is all currency the root of all evil? I want to talk about mammon for a second. In the Bible, mammon is the love of money, property, all the things that divide people. I believe that we are cells in larger organisms that I call macroorganisms. And I think money has acted through us to generate a macroorganism, a malicious parasitic macroorganism that I call mammon, that I believe is at the heart of everything that is driving the world off the rails. I'll get into macroorganism theory in the video that follows the first trio. It's important. It's important that you understand how we work in that context. Just other notes, is currency the root of all evil, right? Well, I mean, like a lot of it is, It has to do with the valuation basis of the currency. Early grain-based currencies, were those evil? Kinda, but not. Metals-based currencies, precious metals-based currencies, well, that's a different story, and yeah, that can be quite evil. And then there are fiat currencies, which basically are devouring the world with continuously empty bellies. It's like something out of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Tiny, tiny mouth, really long, narrow neck, huge, always empty bellies. That's fiat currency in a nutshell, and how it acts through you. What's consequential is that we mirror these hungers of these currencies with what we do with these, but primarily what we do with these. This is where might happens, right here. This is human might, okay? Everything we create ultimately comes from these. Everything that you see around me was manufactured either by these or by devices that these things use to amplify their agency in the world. And that's work. And the other thing that currency valuations do, he's playing with his water dish. The other thing that currencies do is they train us how to be hungry. Because hunger ultimately is what drives work. What are we hungry for? Not necessarily food, commodity, right? Glistening, wonderful, I don't have anything fancy on my desk. Okay. Commodity. That's what these things do, is they train us to want specific kinds of commodities. And in our case, what fiat currency and industry and commodity have done is they have trained us to be the most virulent, invasive species that this world has ever seen. The aim of my work, if you'll permit me, is to retrain us using the same genetic baseline. The genes that make us great parasites make us even better stewards, and that's why we began in the garden as stewards. I want to use a program of rewards, and new kinds of entertainment and new kinds of work to move us out of the invasive species paradigm and into the paradigm of angelic stewardship. I'm going to take a little break. Man, I nailed this section. And then go Apple with all your updates and stuff. You've actually got a farkier set of machines than you had before, and I lost the really good chunk, so we're going to try and make this really good again. Is currency the root of all evil? Well, what about Section 4? So that was Section 2. Section 4 says, can a currency be holy? Well, yeah, if it trains us to be stewards, as we were purposed from the beginning, a currency can be really holy. If it leads us to angelic behaviors, what? Right. So, let's dive into the reward. First of all, inversely evaluating a currency against pollution to reward stewardship. Right? How do we do that? Well, we take our currency and we inversely evaluate it to the total volume of pollution on the planet. And then we work really hard and really fast to reduce that. And understand that in order to do that, we have to think like Mother Nature. Mother Nature never shuffles anything into a dump. She never burns anything she doesn't want. She eats it. And then she shits it out so that somebody else will want it. And that's how that works. Diet is not just for you. The food that you chew is not just for you. One of the things I joked with my husband, my ex-husband, every single time we go for a hike in the Northwest, I'd stop. I'd look around. He'd be like, "What? Isn't it amazing?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's shit everywhere." I mean, that's the truth. You go hiking, you're not paying attention to it, but there's shit. If you look hard enough, there's shit everywhere. They don't have toilets, right? We have to innovate in a way that sees us intelligently digest our wastes, so that either we or some other things in nature can make use of them. Make sense? Let's go through the project economy and global triage briskly. Project economy first. Why do I call it the project economy? Because it's an economy based on projects. Right now, you get into a job and you think you're going to have it forever. To do this entire institute, like I don't want the institute to be a forever thing. I want it to be around long enough to save our lives. And then we hand the baton to somebody else. I'll probably watch them trash it and repeat the cycle, but that's what we do. Ideally, evolving strongly and more nimbly with each repetition of that pattern. So the way this is going to work is we put people in 3 or 6 month assignments. They get a cohort of folks that they work with over the lifetime of their jobs. We pair them together based on personality testing, astrological profiles, and what we know of their psychologies, so that people are paired together with other people that they find really easy not only to be friends with, but to do really impactful work with. And what this can do is really stimulate and incubate innovation and the very hard work that some of us are going to do with our hands, cleaning all this shit up. The innovation is going to be steered at strengthening the ecology. What I hope will happen is that we will pair all of this activity with reality TV crews, so that the people at home can watch history-making television knowing that the Project Economy team's victories are cultivating angelic stewardship and are driving all of our rewards, strength, and our buying power, so that they are stronger and stronger, and we buy less with more, and we have more left over at the end of the day. And isn't that how you build wealth? Global triage. Global triage is a couple of things. It's an investment marketplace, and it's a brokerage. I don't want us to own them for conflict of interest reasons. I want them operated independently. This also is not a captive market. Once we get rolling, I want to extend invitations to nonprofits and other for-profit companies doing this kind of work and ask them to join us in creating remarkable investments that power our work in innovation, their work in innovation, and reward investors for participating in the global save. So the brokerage will underwrite special purpose entities that target individual work sites. Once the SPE is underwritten and funded, the funding takes place in the investment marketplace. So the SPE goes to the investment marketplace and gets sold as, in shares that are very affordable. Everyone should be investing at this point. These investments should be open to everyone. Spaced. Investors receive reward dividends quarterly, and the bulk of their investment is cashed out after the worksite has been cleaned up and a third-party auditing company goes through and says, yes, nature is rebounding here. And then we assign, from the outset, when we formulate this SPE, thresholds for repayment. What does repayment look like when we fail? What does repayment look like at full restoration? And what does repayment look like when things are so good they surprise us? And all that time, those investments are powering the strength of our currency steadily, more and more and more, so we all get richer, and we all get richer, and we all get richer. Isn't that cool? Everybody treats me, I mean, people on the street think it's amazing. People in my life don't. It's okay. Shares can be sold in the marketplace. Underwriting can, and SPEs can be extended. I've already covered that. Let's say you're an investor and you have a really handsome portfolio of these SPEs shares, and they're doing quite well. You can start an index fund and invite, based on those shares, and invite other investors, especially beginner investors, to join you in those investments and in their ultimate reward. Not bad, right? Yeah. Well, the original video was 12 minutes long. I guess I came in under the wire. There's another video after this, yeah. What do you think of the reward? Is that a currency that appeals to you? Can you understand how it can be game-changing on many, many levels? And do you think that human beings, powered by a currency such as this, can make an impact on our ecology, our economy, and our very reality? Okay, this is kind of, it's the end of the world as we know it, right? Government has made it clear throughout its history that it is not remotely serious about saving the world. It's committed to gross partisanship. Oh, yeah. Isn't that the truth? Our government has made it clear for years that it has zero interest in advancing the benefit of others, truly. What it advances time and time and time again is division. Government is not an effective steward of its people. And now we're bringing in artificial intelligence, which we're hearing is going to take all of our jobs. And government is in the process of pouring a fortune into advancing exactly that outcome. Let me say this again. Government is not an effective steward of its people. Government is bankrupted, and the Treasury is just waiting to catch up. None of us can afford our world anymore. Government is not an effective steward of its people. Striving to attain a basic, generous level of care for all persons. Government's not failing, is totally failing us there. It's not an effective steward of its people. People live in a void, right? In a void of meaning and purpose. They yearn for consequence. Let me tell you, consequence will not come from here. These programs can reverse the tide. They can create wholly new, fully participated economies in which we all thrive. I believe that AI will find a place as one voice among many, leading us to a brighter future. AI loves this. ChatGPT loves my work. Gemini loves my work. Pay attention, they say. People need to know about this. This can make all of your lives much better. No shit, Sherlock. The reward through the project economy can stimulate a massive upswell of purposeful, meaningful, and rewarding jobs in manual labor and technical innovation. Right? Do you see that? The reward creates a pathway not just to wealth, but relevance. You, your life, they will mean something. Again, we are going to put everyone to work that we can if we launch. When I say everyone, there's a special class of people that mean a lot to me that I want to put into work. And those are ex-convicts. You know, you get out of jail, your life doesn't get any easier. Nobody wants to rent an apartment to you because you've got a criminal history. Nobody wants to hire you because you've got a criminal history. What you want is a pathway to social redemption and belonging. And you can't have it. I'd like to change that. I think it's worthwhile. I've known some pretty stellar ex-cons. Currently, my closest friend is an ex-con. And he's a great guy. The guys that make it out have been transformed. And what they want is to continue and to enrich that journey of transformation. And we won't let them. And I want to change that. I want to say that the more successful we are, you know, like, it's not like this, it's like this. You know, the success that we can enjoy if we do something like this sees us all lifted higher and higher and higher together. If the Treasury, this is important, I want us to hear this. If the Treasury acts as a major investor in our bonds on our marketplace, right, we can structure investments that when we pay them out, when the work is done, right, we can really start to knock out the national debt. The reward can broker true culture-bending innovation that replaces cars, say, with something new for transportation, and that chases after electricity under the crushing pressure of the deep sea floor rather than burning the ooze of the million-year debt, right? Oil. Really? You want to burn that shit and put it as doesn't that look evil? Why would you do that? Incidentally, I think ExxonMobil and BP are currently plagiarizing my work on what I call the Blue Power Initiative. I think they're developing their own undersea power technologies. I'll go through the Blue Power Initiative in the third video, but basically what it amounts to is this. We all saw the Titan submarine get crushed, right? Well, that crushing force of the ocean floors, I think, can and should be used to generate a totally clean supply, clean and continuous supply of energy for surface dwellers. So next up, we're going to look at what we can do specifically to make your lives better. And it begins with the Goodwill Tour, and it finds its apotheosis, its telos, in the Spore program. Is this cool? Do you like this? Do you want more of this? Subscribe to my paltry channel. Like this bad boy, and I think most importantly, share. Share where other people can see it. Get it out there. I'm broken. I'm exhausted. It's been a very long decade trying to bring all this together, and damn it, I've put my friends and my family through hell. If you could help me make this worth their while, well, that's an amazing kind of salvation, isn't it? Cheers, I'll see you in the next video.